The Group of Seven, or G7, is an intergovernmental political forum. It brings together leaders from Canada, a nation known for its commitment to multilateralism and its significant role in global trade. France, a key player in European politics and a strong advocate for international cooperation. Germany, the economic powerhouse of Europe, plays a crucial role in shaping global economic policy. Italy, with its rich history and strategic location, contributes significantly to discussions on Mediterranean affairs and cultural diplomacy. Japan, a technological leader and major economic force in Asia, brings vital perspectives on innovation and sustainable development. The United Kingdom, a nation with a long history of global engagement and a permanent seat on the UN Security Council. And the United States, a global superpower with significant influence on international affairs and economic policy. Each year, these nations meet, usually in a different member country, to tackle global issues like the economy, including trade imbalances and financial stability, security, addressing threats like terrorism and cyber warfare, and climate change, working towards sustainable solutions and emissions reductions. The summit's goal is to find common ground, fostering collaboration on complex issues, on shared problems, from pandemics to poverty, with decisions that can ripple worldwide, influencing policies and shaping global norms. The host country rotates, giving each member a chance to showcase their priorities, setting the agenda and leading discussions, thereby influencing the direction of the summit. Despite our digital age, where communication is instant and global, these face-to-face meetings remain crucial, providing an opportunity for genuine dialogue, for building trust and negotiating tough topics, often behind closed doors, to reach meaningful consensus. The G7 operates without a formal treaty, unlike many international organizations or permanent office, which allows for flexibility and adaptability in addressing emerging challenges. Its power comes from the agreements leaders reach each year, reflecting their collective will and commitment. These agreements, or communiques, are carefully worded statements, signal a united stance on global challenges, demonstrating solidarity and shared purpose. The G7 began in the 1970s, initially as a forum for finance ministers to address economic crises, particularly the oil crisis and subsequent recession, but now covers a wide range of issues, of political and security issues, reflecting the interconnectedness of global challenges. As a community of democracies, sharing values of freedom and human rights, the G7 often shapes the agenda for other international organizations, influencing global governance. The summit is a major event, attracting significant media attention, closely watched by governments and citizens alike, who are keen to see how leaders address pressing global issues. Leaders are expected to stay for the entire summit, demonstrating their commitment to the process, as each session is vital for consensus, requiring active participation and compromise. The final communique represents unity, a symbol of collective agreement and shared commitment, outlining the group's priorities and action plans. Full participation isn't just tradition, it's a demonstration of respect for the process. It's essential for the summit's success, ensuring that all voices are heard and considered. When a leader leaves early, it disrupts the dynamic of the summit. It's rare and signals a serious disagreement or urgent crisis, drawing immediate attention. Such departures can have global implications, raising questions about the strength of the G7's unity, highlighting the summit's significance and the weight of its decisions on the world stage. The year was 2018, and the setting was Canada, host to the annual G7 summit. World leaders gathered, each carrying the weight of their nation's interests and global responsibilities. Among them was President Donald Trump, arriving with his characteristic blend of confidence and unpredictability. He arrived with a confrontational agenda, setting the stage for what would become a particularly contentious gathering. The air crackled with anticipation and a sense of unease as discussions began. Tensions were already high, simmering beneath the surface, primarily due to U.S. tariffs. These tariffs had become a major point of contention. Specifically, the tariffs on steel and aluminum imports were causing significant friction. These tariffs were straining relations with America's closest allies, who viewed them as unfair and detrimental to global trade. The traditional bonds of friendship and cooperation were being tested. Trump's America First stance, a cornerstone of his political platform, clashed directly with the G7's long-standing tradition of cooperation and multilateral diplomacy. It was a fundamental difference in approach. He was scheduled for key meetings, crucial for addressing these pressing issues and finding common ground. He was also expected to actively participate and help shape the final joint statement, a document that would reflect the consensus of the group. But on the summit's second day, a surprise announcement disrupted the proceedings. The White House abruptly announced a change in President Trump's schedule. Trump would leave the G7 summit early, cutting short his participation. He skipped crucial sessions on climate and oceans, key topics for international cooperation and environmental protection. He was departing before the communiqué was even issued, leaving his counterparts to finalize the document without him. The reason given was a historic summit with North Korea's Kim Jong-un in Singapore, a meeting of immense geopolitical significance. This summit was primarily focused on denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula, a long-standing goal of international diplomacy. The White House stated that this crucial meeting required President Trump's full and undivided attention, thus prioritizing it over the ongoing discussions at the G7 summit. His early exit was highly unusual, a departure from established diplomatic norms and protocols. It signaled a significant shift in U.S. foreign policy priorities under the Trump administration. By leaving before consensus was reached on key issues, Trump broke with G7 tradition, a move that did not go unnoticed by his fellow leaders, and sent a clear political message about his administration's approach to international relations. The move underscored the growing divides and disagreements between the U.S. and its allies, particularly on issues of trade and global cooperation. It marked a new, more transactional approach, a departure from traditional diplomatic practices, to American foreign policy, one that prioritized specific deals and bilateral relationships over multilateral agreements. The 2018 G7 summit, hosted by Canada, aimed to address inclusive growth, future jobs, and gender equality. Leaders planned to discuss adapting to automation, countering security threats, and reaffirming global stability. But the agenda was quickly overshadowed by a trade dispute. Trump's tariffs on allies sparked fierce opposition. The summit turned confrontational, with leaders pressing Trump to reverse his decision. Climate change was also on the agenda, but Trump's withdrawal from the Paris Agreement deepened divisions. He left before these discussions, highlighting the rift on environmental policy. The summit, meant for unity, became a stage for discord. Trump's early departure left key issues unresolved. The G7's ability to present a united front was seriously tested. As G7 leaders debated in Canada, a crisis was erupting in the Middle East. Tensions between Israel and Iran soared over Iran's military buildup in Syria. Israel viewed Iran's presence as an existential threat and responded with targeted airstrikes. The situation escalated when Iranian forces allegedly attacked Israeli positions in the Golan Heights. Israel retaliated with its largest air campaign in decades, raising fears of a wider war. This conflict cast a shadow over the G7, especially for President Trump. The U.S., as Israel's key ally, was deeply concerned about the risk of regional war. The crisis demanded urgent attention from Washington. It began to pull Trump's focus away from the summit and toward the Middle East. The rivalry between Israel and Iran is a deeply rooted and long-standing one, marked by decades of mutual distrust and conflicting regional ambitions. This complex relationship has shaped much of the Middle East's geopolitical landscape. However, the Syrian civil war injected a new level of urgency into this already tense dynamic. The conflict created a power vacuum and provided opportunities for both nations to pursue their strategic goals within Syria's borders. Iran, seeking to expand its regional influence and create a strategic land bridge through its support behind the Assad regime, providing crucial military and economic assistance that helped the Syrian government stay afloat. Simultaneously, Iran continued arming and funding Hezbollah, its key proxy in Lebanon, further extending its reach along Israel's northern border. These actions were deeply alarming to Israel, which viewed Iran's growing presence in Syria and Lebanon as an existential threat to its national security. In response, Israel initiated a series of preemptive strikes targeting Iranian military infrastructure and weapons convoys within Syria. These strikes were aimed at preventing Iran from establishing a permanent military foothold on its border and transferring advanced weaponry to Hezbollah. Each strike carried the inherent risk of escalating the conflict into a full-blown regional war, with the international community watching anxiously, fearing the potential consequences of a wider conflagration. The direct confrontation in May 2018, marked by rockets fired at the Golan Heights, represented a dangerous turning point, signaling a more overt and direct phase in the conflict. Israel responded with a massive wave of retaliatory airstrikes, demonstrating its unwavering resolve to defend its territory and deter further aggression at any cost. The Trump administration, having recently withdrawn from the Iran nuclear deal, was confronted with a critical and rapidly evolving situation in the Middle East. Providing unwavering support to Israel while simultaneously managing the escalating standoff quickly became a top foreign policy priority for the United States. The ever-present risk of a wider regional war demanded immediate and highly focused diplomatic leadership from global powers. President Trump's attention abruptly shifted away from the G7 summit to address this urgent and potentially destabilizing crisis in the Middle East. Even at the G7, Trump's focus was split between summit talks and the Middle East. Before leaving, he held a press conference, issuing a direct warning to Iran. Trump declared unwavering U.S. support for Israel and threatened severe consequences for Iranian aggression. He condemned Iran's support for terrorism and destabilizing actions in the region. The message was clear: further attacks could provoke a U.S. response. This warning reassured Israel and signaled American resolve to allies and adversaries alike. Trump's tough stance was a hallmark of his foreign policy. Delivered from the G7 stage, the warning overshadowed other summit topics. It made clear that countering Iran was a top priority for his administration. Trump's early departure was driven by the urgent Israel-Iran crisis. A potential Middle East war required his full attention and presence in Washington. The White House saw national security as more pressing than summit debates on trade or climate. Back in D.C., Trump could lead crisis management, consult advisors, and coordinate with allies. His America First approach prioritized immediate threats over multilateral consensus. While other leaders might have stayed, Trump chose direct action. His exit signaled what his administration valued most: hard power security challenges. The brewing conflict demanded the president's focus above all else. G7 leaders reacted to Trump's early exit with frustration and disappointment. It was seen as a snub to the host and a blow to G7 unity. Angela Merkel's viral photo captured the summit's tense mood. After Trump left, the remaining leaders agreed on a communiqué, only for Trump to withdraw his support from the plane. Yet there was some understanding. A national security crisis can override summit schedules. Leaders knew they might do the same in his position. The real concern was America's broader retreat from multilateral cooperation. The incident left the G7 alliance strained and uncertain about its future. Trump's early departure from the 2018 G7 summit highlights the unpredictability of global leadership. Leaders must balance summit agendas with sudden crises that demand immediate action. The Israel-Iran conflict forced Trump to choose national security over multilateral diplomacy. This tension between collective action and national interests is a constant in world affairs. Trump's America First approach shaped his response, prioritizing direct action over consensus. Another leader might have rallied the G7, but Trump chose a different path. The summit exposed deep divisions among allies and the limits of international forums. It's a reminder that real-world events can upend even the most carefully planned diplomacy.